In China, there are stories of high school students so desperate to pass a single exam that they've reportedly hooked themselves up to IV drips just to keep studying. There have also been accounts of mothers giving their daughters birth control pills, not for contraception but to shift their menstrual cycles so they don't interfere with testing. This is the world of the Gaokao, an intense national exam that helps determine the entire future of over 13 million students each year. It's a system praised for producing brilliant minds, but also blamed for a widespread mental health crisis. So, is Chinese education truly as overwhelming as it sounds? In this video, we're going to uncover the truth about this high-stakes world. Section 1. The Gaokao, the world's toughest test. Imagine your entire academic career, from your first day of school to your last, all coming down to one exam. For millions of Chinese students, that's the reality of the Gaokao. The name itself translates to high-level examination, but that simple title doesn't capture the scale of it. It's a grueling test, spread over 2 to 3 days, lasting about 9 hours in total, and it serves as the main factor for university admission in China. For the record, 13.42 million students who took the exam in 2024. Their score will largely determine not just if they get into college, but which universities they'll attend, and by extension, the kind of career and life they can expect. This system is often described as a great equalizer, a modern version of the ancient imperial exams that allowed commoners to become powerful officials. In theory, a student from a poor, rural village has the same shot as a student from a wealthy family in Shanghai. It's a powerful idea, one test where only your knowledge is supposed to matter, but the sheer scale of the competition turns this ideal into a pressure cooker. With a limited number of spots at top universities, the Gaokao feels less like a test and more like a national battle. The stakes are so high that entire cities seem to hold their breath during the exam. Traffic is rerouted, construction sites fall silent, and people are asked to keep quiet near testing centers. It's all designed to give students the perfect environment for this life-altering moment. But the immense weight placed on this single event has profound consequences, and it raises a critical question: what is the human cost of this relentless chase for academic perfection? Section 2. The crushing weight of pressure. The pressure doesn't just start in senior year. It begins much earlier with the scramble to get into a good high school that can properly prepare you for the Gaokao. This long, intense build-up has been linked to a widely reported mental health crisis among Chinese youth. The system has been blamed for causing severe psychological strain, including anxiety, depression, and insomnia. In some tragic cases, academic stress has been cited as a major factor in student suicides. The stories are tough to hear. One former teacher described her students' days starting with mandatory exercises at 5:30 a.m. and ending with study sessions that went until 10 p.m. or even later. This leaves almost no time for rest or hobbies, creating an environment where self-harm and depression can become tragically common. After the Gaokao is finally over, many students have a cathartic ritual of destroying their textbooks, shredding them, tearing them, and throwing them from school buildings in a confetti of paper. While it looks like a celebration, some have described this act as a symbolic release, a protest against the system's toll on their youth. This level of psychological pressure can be hard for people in other countries to fully grasp. In many Western education systems, if you don't do well on a college entrance exam, there are other options: community college, vocational training, or just trying again. But in China, the alternatives have traditionally been far more limited, which creates a do-or-die mentality. While the system is praised for its fairness, it's also been criticized for creating a single, narrow path to success, where one exam score can overshadow everything else a person has to offer. Section 3. A tale of two systems, the rural-urban divide. But the pressure isn't felt equally by everyone. The Gaokao's promise as a great equalizer is fractured by a deep and persistent divide between rural and urban China. This inequality is built into the system, partly through the hukou or household registration system, which can tie a person's access to education and social services to where they were born. The statistics paint a picture of two different educational worlds. While China's overall gross enrollment rate in higher education reached over 60% in 2023, a significant gap remains between regions. This disparity is a cumulative disadvantage. Rural schools are often underfunded, with more crowded classrooms and fewer highly qualified teachers. For example, one 2022 analysis noted that the percentage of teachers with a master's degree in urban schools was 8.2% compared to just 1.3% in rural schools. The COVID-19 pandemic made these inequalities even more obvious. While only 5.7% of urban students had no access to online learning, about half of rural students faced disruptions, with a third being completely cut off from their education. This was largely due to a massive resource gap. 40% of urban students had a computer, compared to just 7.3% of students in rural areas. The financial burden is also heavier for rural families. While 9-year compulsory education is free, high school is not, which can lead to a higher dropout rate. Some studies have shown that a significant percentage of rural students leave school after junior high. All of this means that by the time a rural student sits for the Gaokao, they are often competing with one hand tied behind their back. The playing field is anything but level, leading to what some call a solidification of social classes, where it becomes nearly impossible for those born in the countryside to get ahead. If you're finding this deep dive into China's education system insightful, take a moment to subscribe. We're dedicated to bring you nuanced stories from around the world that go beyond the headlines. Section 4. The government strikes back. The double reduction crackdown. Faced with this mounting pressure, a widening wealth gap, and concerns about the high cost of raising a child, the Chinese government launched an unprecedented crackdown in 2021, known as the Shangjian or double reduction policy. It was designed to reduce the burdens of both homework and after-school tutoring. The move was swift and sweeping. The government banned for-profit tutoring in core subjects for students in primary and middle school. Tutoring on weekends and holidays was forbidden, and an entire industry once valued at over $100 billion was basically dismantled overnight. Many observers called it a death penalty for the sector, causing stocks of major education companies to crash and leading to mass layoffs. The government's goals were clear: ease the incredible stress on students, lower the financial burden on parents, and rein in what it saw as the disorderly expansion of capital. The policy was aimed at tackling the educational arms race, where wealthier families could afford expensive private tutors, giving their kids an unfair advantage and making inequality worse. This crackdown was followed by more rules. In 2023, authorities announced heavy fines for anyone caught running unlicensed tutoring services. The government also laid out a long-term vision, the Education Powerhouse Plan, which aims to build a more equitable and innovative education system by 2035. This includes new goals for daily physical activity, a renewed focus on mental health, and efforts to revitalize rural high schools. The message from Beijing is that education should serve the country as a whole, not just the ambitions of a few. Section 5. Has anything really changed? So, has the double reduction policy actually worked? It has definitely shaken things up. It reduced some of the most obvious academic burdens and, in some cases, gave students more time for rest and exercise. However, the fundamental engine of all this pressure, the high-stakes Gaokao, is still firmly in place. Because of this, the tutoring industry hasn't really gone away. It has just gone underground. Many parents, still desperate to give their children an edge, have turned to a thriving black market of expensive one-on-one tutors. For some middle-class families, the cost of education has actually gone up as they try to navigate this new, unregulated landscape. Experts argue that as long as the Gaokao is a main path to a better future, the intense competition is almost impossible to avoid. The demand for any possible advantage will continue. So while the government's reforms are a major step toward tackling inequality, they may not be addressing the root cause of the anxiety. At the same time, China's new education plans are shifting to promote vocational skills and training for specific industries like AI and advanced manufacturing. This is an attempt to create different paths to success outside the traditional university track. But there's a catch. For many families, a university degree from a prestigious school is still seen as the only real prize. The system is now caught between a powerful push for reform and the deep-seated cultural and economic beliefs that have defined it for generations. So, back to our original question, is Chinese education truly overwhelming? For millions of students, the answer is a clear yes. It's a system of immense pressure, defined by a single exam that can feel like it determines your entire life. It's a world where the stress is severe enough to spark a mental health crisis, and where your chance of success is still heavily influenced by whether you're born in a city or the countryside. The Chinese government has recognized these serious problems and has started a massive, ambitious project of reform. The crackdown on tutoring and the new focus on well-being are bold moves toward creating a more balanced and fair system. And yet, the core engine of the pressure, the Gaokao, continues to dominate the landscape. This leaves many wondering if these changes are just treating the symptoms rather than the underlying condition. The story of Chinese education is full of contradictions. It's both a path for social mobility and a system that can reinforce class divides. It's a testament to the idea of meritocracy and a cautionary tale about the human cost of competition. As China continues down this complex road, it leaves us with a final question. Will this system evolve into a new model of education for the world to learn from, or will the pressure ultimately prove too much to overcome? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that explores the critical issues shaping our world.